So, I've arrived in Oxford, the first proper city I've seen since I started out walking along the river. And it is, of course, much more towny than I've got used to, but there isn't, so far at least, much sign of those dreaming spires of all those historic Oxford colleges. What there is the occasional reminder of Oxford's past. This is what's left of Osney Mill here at Osney Lock. Used to provide a lot of money for Osney Abbey, which now no longer exists, but the wealth that this mill produced in turn provided the money with which Christ Church College was founded, so it does have a direct link with Oxford's academic side. And here, this wonderful Victorian folly on the bank of the river, just by the appropriately named Folly Bridge. And a bit further along here, Christchurch Meadow. This is very much a rowing stretch of the river. This is where all Oxford's rowers practice their skills. You can see all the boathouses along the side there. Well, that building up there on the other side of the river is Newnham House, built in the 1750s for the first Earl of Harcourt, and very popular in its time with the royal family. George III once called it the most enjoyable place I know. Queen Victoria said it was a most lovely place. It's also where Charles Dodgson, better known as Lewis Carroll, author of Alice in Wonderland, used to bring Alice Liddell and her sisters. Alice wrote, "One of our favourite whole-day excursions was to row down to Newnham and picnic in the woods there. Sometimes we were told stories after luncheon that transported us into fairyland." Well, this is the very pretty little town of Abingdon, or Abingdon-on-Thames. It has a good claim to be one of the oldest continuously inhabited towns anywhere in England. There's evidence been found here of human habitation going right back to the Iron Age, and certainly by medieval times it was a very prosperous town. There was an abbey here in the 7th century, and by the time of the dissolution under Henry VIII, that abbey had grown to be the 6th wealthiest in England. Well, you'll have got the picture by now. There's no shortage of beautiful views as I walk along the river. I'm now just to the east of Culham, heading towards Goring and then Reading, and it is absolutely lovely here. But if I move the camera just a fraction to the right, it's not so beautiful. That is Didcot Power Station over there. Absolutely hideous. Can't miss it. Huge cooling towers looming up on the other side of the river there. But I suppose, given that we all need electricity, eyesore it may be, but one has to admit, probably a necessary eyesore. Well, how's this for a picture book view? That bridge is the work of the great Gothic revivalist George Gilbert Scott, the same man who designed the Midland Hotel at St Pancras Station in London. It is said that he drew the original design for the bridge on his shirt cuff one evening. Not sure if that's true, but it is a very lovely bridge. And that church up there is also rather lovely. In the churchyard is the grave of a man who earned his place in history by firing the first shot in the Battle of Waterloo. He fired it by mistake, apparently. His gun went off accidentally. His name was Sergeant William Dykes. Anyway, an absolutely beautiful little place at Clifton Hampton here. But again, I've got to be honest, if I just turn slightly to my right, there's a campsite. Not so pretty. Well, this is Wallingford. The first castle was built here in the 11th century on the orders of William the Conqueror, and it lasted several hundred years, all the way up to the English Civil War, in fact. It was the last of the royalist strongholds in England to hold out. It was eventually captured by Oliver Cromwell's troops in 1646 when it was demolished. There's a handsome bridge here, very similar to many of the other ones in this stretch of the Thames. It's a very lovely town.